That's fine. No, no, I get it. I get it. You need something to take your mind off the thing, and yeah, that helps. I think it might probably. All right. All right. Oh, I've got cyberpunk on the brain. Somebody help me. Perfect. No, that's fine. No, nothing I can think of. Well, nothing that the almighty truck won't hear. All right. Are you? I mean, I can hear you. No, how else would I be talking to you if I could?
Figured that out. Yeah. My computer, because I plug it into my microphone out back and forth, it doesn't necessarily reconnect. But yeah, pretty much I was just testing everything, but yeah, thank you. I think pretty much it should be working now and everything. So, uh yeah. So I got the assortment of images here. I'm just going to be going down the list and pulling them up on this stream.
All right.
We're just gonna be going through it. So, yeah, I really shouldn't have to explain. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, she can hear me now. So I shouldn't really have to explain tier list, but just in case, just in case for the people living under the rock, pretty much we got an assortment of shows here. We're gonna choose it. We're gonna rate them from S to F. S being best, F being worst. So that's the rundown of the ultimate tier lists. Okay.
Right.
So let's open up here.
All right. I will give fair warning. If I see a series that I have either not heard of or not seen, I will do my best to try to give some input.
I will. Okay, if we come to that, I will open up the plot synopsis, and if like, because I'll admit, like, either these are shows I have not seen in a long time, or these will either be shows I have not seen in a long time, or just like have heard something about. Like
Gotcha. All right.
some of these shows, at least.
Right. I just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so first show up is the first one in the file.
All right.
In Another World with My Smartphone.
Oh, boy.
So, to those that don't know this show, In Our World with My Smartphone has a main character who has died, and his whole thing is he's reincarnated into the new world. The kicker here being that he gets to take his smartphone with him. God gives him all of these powers, enchants his smartphone with like an everlasting battery, and pretty much it is like I'm trying to say this as best as possible without sounding like putting it down down incredibly, because I don't know how many people listening to this are actually going to be in the know about power fantasies, but pretty much he gets sets up in Middle Earth, and he meets a bunch of different travelers, all women, and basically any power that he come across, or any power he come across and whatnot, he can learn, like the ability to slip opponents, or create things with, like, I don't know, alchemy or whatever, like weapons and guns and everything. And yeah, that's like basically that it's a full-on power wish fulfillment. Okay, so the reason why I started with this is because it is very much when people think of like no, I will put it down D tier. That's what Smug is saying. But when people
He's being generous.
when people put this like in the grand scheme of things, like when people talk about like power fantasy, I think this is like the the fucking I don't know how to put it, the easy target, so to speak.
Yeah, this is what people would consider when people think power fantasy. This is the type of thing they look at. Like, this is what they take one good look at this and just automatically assume, oh, all power fantasies are like this kind of crap.
Yeah, I will give it like credit in some regards, where it's just like conceptually there are ideas here where it's like, okay, so something about me is like when it comes to art, I don't like to say like no, you can't do that, or no, that shouldn't be done, because like you can definitely take ideas that seem very like this is a generic example.
Right.
But yeah, it's like
all right.
OP Protagon Hero. But it's like when it comes to certain ideas, right? Like I like to see like, okay, that could be an interesting idea to work off of. Like if you have a character with an smartphone, and like they do sort of like try out this where it's like they have him exploit various aspects of the smartphone, like photography, and even like making food, even like bringing forth like food recipes for current time. And I'm like, you know what? That's actually kind of an interesting idea, if it was the main focus of this show.
But sadly,
it's no. So it's, ultimately, yeah, it's very much a generic. It's a show. Smug is messaging me both on Discord and YouTube. Smug, it's fine if you want to do it on YouTube. I'd actually appreciate it, so like Discord doesn't keep going off. But yeah, so I would say this is basically just generic isekai. I'm gonna put it on personally, like I'm gonna put it on, for me, it's on E tier.
Ooh, okay.
Like,
So,
I know, like, it's very generic, but at the same time, like, I wouldn't say it's, like, the worst series I have ever come across. Because, like, I think we both have seen what Isekai has to offer, and we know what Power Fantasy has to offer, so...
yeah. So, there are worse.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like E tier is somewhere between E and D tier is honestly a safe bet for it.
Okay. I should also pull up, because like Smug also like, because she wasn't gonna because I knew she wasn't gonna like be on microphone. I did ask her in advance, like, did she want to like make her own tier list prior? I should probably bring that up.
Alrighty.
Just for reference.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she put she put all these. This is like her picks.
Hey, you know what? That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep that hidden and bring it back up, but for right now, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna like honestly, it's like, so what would you say is a good placement? Like Smug says D, I say E. What would you say?
I mean, I want to be fair because, like we said, it is the generic, quote unquote, harmless type of power fantasy.
Yeah.
And you're right. Some of the ideas could work if they were the main focus, but they aren't. So, yeah, I'll give it a fair E tier.
All right. I think we can agree. Like, if there was like more than one row, like high E tier, low D tier. I think that's fair. Okay.
Yeah, that'll work.
So, all right. So we got that. Next up on the list, this one is like really fucking small. I really hope this isn't like blurry or anything. It probably is. Oh, that's actually a lot better than I give it credit for. Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation.
I have heard a ton of good things about this one.
Ninja Warrior, I see we're ranking trash. And here and there. Here and there.
But real talk, I've heard good things about this one, mainly how it starts. I've yet to see it. But...
So, I will give the synopsis, and I will talk about, like, my experience with it. So, the story, in terms of, like, I've read the manga first, but the story is you have a overweight, like, middle-aged, like, not middle-aged, more kind of like a high school, college-esque student, being kicked out of his dorm. This is after, like, a funeral with one of his relatives, and, like...
Right.
In the manga, and the anime goes out of its way to make him, like, really fucking depraved, but in the manga, he's just shown, like, shut in his home, like, his various classmates or family members, just after the funeral, they go up into where he's just shut in and kick him out of his apartment, and he's just left homeless. Now, the anime went out the extra mile to have him jerking off to, just degenerate hentai. And just... just people come in, beat the shit out of him, kick him out of his place, and smash up his, like, room and everything. He ultimately, like, he's just down on his luck. He's just really fucking depressed. At some point, he comes across a girl who is being, like, hit on by several strangers, and she tries to do, like, something right by trying to stop them. In the midst of that, he gets hit by a truck and gets reincarnated, the kicker here being that he gets reincarnated as a child, as a baby, with a whole new life, but with all of his memories from his previous life intact. So from then on, the whole story is centered on him growing up and trying to start anew, trying to correct the mistakes of his previous life, and trying to be like someone that he was not in the previous life. That's pretty much the synopsis. What do you think?
Alright, well, okay. Like, I'm alright. Not what I was expecting, really, but... Okay, I can definitely give it a watch after that.
Yeah.
Because...
I will say, the animation is definitely, like, it is beautiful. Like, apparently... There was an animation studio that was created specifically for this anime, and it is, like, literally, it's, like, beyond word description. It is beautiful. Like, people, like, there were definitely, like, people who took time and energy to make this.
I can believe it just from looking at the picture alone.
Yeah.
yeah, the idea about him being in this new world as what's essentially a giant reset button, it I can get behind that. And having to start a new life, wanting to be a better person for it, and while still dealing with the trauma of his past life. Yeah, I can get behind that.
I only know this for one scene in particular. Smug, is it too late to put Ed Burns on this list? Next time if we do another tier list, depending on how this one goes.
Ooh, we're gonna get that one's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I've got I should have prefaced this by specifying the rules, shouldn't I?
Yeah, that's fine. We'll get it.
You know, I'll you know what? Like after we do this one, I'll read up like what I considered what was qualifying, because there are other shows on here that I can definitely say can be up for debate on whether or not they should be considered power fantasy. But anyway, yeah. So I want to say what captivated me about this show. Smug says this here. We'll get to that. What captivated me about this show is not necessarily the idea of like yes, the idea of, you know, this whole world being a reset button and a chance at a new life, yes. But what really captivated me is how that really comes into play. Because it really, like, going back to In Our World with my smartphone, when I was talking about how it has these ideas that it could really play up and build on, but it doesn't. Here, I feel like it's the exact opposite, where it's just like, you really get the vibe that this character really fucking hated his previous life so much so that he has no desire whatsoever to go back. Like, there's this one scene early on, and it's this one scene where it's just like he has to like have this whole magic graduation test, and this. No, not the show. Ed Runners. Sorry, those thoughts ran together. But anyway, it's like there's this thought in his head where it's just like where his graduation test has to be taken like far away from his home, and this entire time he's just been kind of stuck at home within his backyard and everything, just practicing magic and everything, just getting good at it. And thoughts of even simply stepping out of that house or even looking outwards towards other kids, it instantly triggers a traumatic event. Like the anime does a really good bit of this, where like he's looking up at other kids playing out like just right outside his house on like in a yard or whatever, and then the kids immediately pull out phones with like these shit-eating grins and start recording him. Now, that's all in his head, but that's immediately, like, that gives you an idea of what his previous life used to be like. And that really was, like, that was telling me, like, there is something here that this story is really trying to tell, and I really, it just dug into me. And, like, I'm still, like, reading up on, like, the manga's nowhere finished, but I'm still reading it, and I definitely have to say, like, it's still, like, it's good, it's still, like, I like where it's going. But, yeah. So here's where Smug put it. She put it in A tier.
Okay.
What would from hearing that, what would you rate this show particularly?
Just hearing about the show and having not seen it myself, I know an absolute crime. But honestly, again, if we did the middle of the road thing, I'd say high A tier, low S tier. But to be concrete, I'd say yeah, A tier. That's just from my perspective.
Yeah, I would say like I am going to say. Side note: this series airs was fun. The series airs was fun. That doesn't affect my ranking though. Okay. I would say, for this series, it is kind of on a bias because I am someone with PTSD, but I do like its representation of trauma really fucking well. That said, I kind of have to agree it's A tier. Like, okay, if we were ranking this on animation alone, oh, hell yes. Fucking S tier. No. All the way. I would not debate on that, but I would say that... And it's just, like, to me... it has a lot. It's good, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a masterpiece of sorts. It's a good story, and it's not bad in any regard, but it's just like I feel like I guess it just feels like it's not really trying to go for the masterpiece of isekai as much as it is going for its own story, which I feel is good enough to be high, but not like the like put on this highest pedestal. So I would say yeah, this would be A tier for me, realistically.
All right.
Okay. And I should see if I can. Come on. Okay. Yeah, this computer is slow when it's trying to run several things all at fucking once. Okay, found it.
All right, there we go.
Can we just bring this into the tier list? Okay. So before we continue, I found essentially what I was writing up, what qualifies. Oh shit, I pulled up the wrong thing. That's not what I wanted, Streamlabs. Fucking... Okay, now there it goes. Okay. Yeah, here it goes. So, these were what I considered what counts. So, a protagonist having a limitless supply of powers, a generic everyday protagonist, self-insert protagonist, motivations being lackluster and or non-existent, motivations being generic and or wish-fulfilling, fantasy world being Middle-earth, and I know this technically qualifies for all of them, but I really wanted to put it into its own category because it is. A Mary Sue or a Gary Stu, confrontations with questionable logic, and added bonuses, several girls or guys in love with the protagonist, zero to hero struggling to villain story is molded in main character's favor, power creep, world ending, conflicts on a world ending scale, and protagonist pulling off a feat deemed as impossible multiple times. Here at Sozo Incorporated, we value our technical know-how and experience. Thank you, Ninja. What I didn't consider what counted was most non-power fantasy stories, basically like stories that just are fantasy, but they don't really they don't go for what would be counting up here. Most shonen battle stories, because shonen battle already kind of are power fantasy, but they get away with it with what they have to tell in the narratives and whatnot. So I would say that I would kind of back off on that, most of them at least. Right. And series which technically count but don't have enough factors to be added. So if a series has power creep, like Dragon Ball, yeah, that show has power creep, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's a power fantasy, so to speak. Or a story like Naruto, where it's it definitely feels where it's molded in the main character's favor, sure, but it's still... Smug's Killer, what's your source, Sander? My sources I made the fuck up. Yeah, but yeah, that's what constituted for me. And there are going to be other shows down the line, and we can if you've seen it, we can talk about whether or not they should constitute. Right now, it's been pretty pretty obvious what constitutes, but it's gonna be later on. I chose other shows where it's just this could possibly be it, but no. There's also a possibility of wiggle room, and if that is the case, I will replace it with another show, and I think you are really going to love it.
Okay.
So just
All
keep
right.
in mind, if there is a show that sticks out to you like, you know what, I hear you, but that doesn't sound like a power fantasy to me, I wouldn't consider it, do speak up, because the show I replace it with is going to be worth it.
All right. Fair enough.
Okay. So, we've gotten Narwhal with my smartphone and Mushoku Tensei off, so let's get to one of the biggest examples of a power fantasy series.
Just the way he breaks down.
No game, no life.
Oh, look, the series that'll never get a season 2. Yeah,
So, to those that don't know, basically the show is about a brother and a sister who are not related by blood, who are really good at video games, but suck at real life. They beat God in a chess game, and as such, God brings them to a fantasy world where games determine everything. And basically the whole series is centered around how they are kings of like video games in general. They just cannot lose, and that's the whole series. Arashi?
And now you know what? That is the epitome of power fantasy.
Yeah.
No, I ain't gonna contest you on that one, Chief.
Yeah. I just had like when I thought, power fantasy, I mean, this had to be on here.
It just would feel right, you know?
Yeah. It is such like, it is the McDonald's of isekai series, where it's like, ultimately speaking, I think we can agree this is objectively bad, but it's so good. Yeah. I just, so much stuff happens in here that is just like, it's either fucking a reference to something else, or it's just like, how can we bullshit our way out of this?
If you know, to those that know, you know.
Oh my god. What, like, okay, I've said what I've said about it. What do you think about it?
If we're just talking about the one season as a whole, then yeah, it's absolute, without getting into like the movie or anything. Then yeah, it's just one giant power. It's just one giant power fantasy. Everything is in the main character's favor. Everything, and if you don't believe me, just flip a coin. There you go.
Oh. Immediately, I know what you're like. Immediately, my first thought was the fucking jacket line from Payday: "Heads or tails, a toss coin." The metaphor for uncertainties of life. Of course, the wise player always cheats. And then I realized, oh shit, you're talking about that.
Yep.
Oh god, I will say I love without a fucking doubt, because it cracks me up nonstop, the beach. I love the beach. Anyway, so with that said, Richard's here. Yeah. Smug also ranked this as A tier. What would you, as a power fantasy, what would you rate this?
Oh, I'm putting it up on S tier just for the pure insanity.
You know what? I was gonna play coy, but I have to give it S tier just because it is such, like, it's both such a great shitpost. It's just one giant shitpost.
And again, this is without getting into the movie, which is just a giant kick in the heart.
Sucks. I like how Sozo's trying to ignore. I said, no, I was just trying to be polite to Arashi. Smug said it before. Who are not related by blood. Gods, I hope not, or things get real weird later in the series. Can I want to say the line from No Game No Life in Minutes, where it's just like, did I mention that she's not related by blood? Because it'd be totally weird that she was related by blood. So it's definitely awesome that she's not related by blood at all. I am 11 though. I'm not listening. Oh my god. So
So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Best tier. Once again, to quote Ken Brockman, once again, it just goes to show democracy just doesn't work. All right. I think we got him. I think we've. All right.
I needed that.
All right. So let's move on from that shitpost and move on. Let me see if I can get this transferred here. Move on to another shitpost.
Yes, of course. Who hasn't heard of this shit?
So, Konosuba. Basically, take what we've said about... Take essentially the plot of An Hour with My Smartphone, and basically take a plot of No Game No Life, and go, okay, but what if we gave the middle finger?
What if isekai? But fuck you.
Yes. So the start of this is very much like very much nowadays a cliche start of any isekai series where you have this character who is just kind of this anime otaku. Konosuba, the only one I like. You have this anime otaku who comes across like this high school girl, whatnot, he thinks is about to be run over by a truck, and he tries to save her in the process, dying. He wakes up to find this goddess who tells him that he had died in attempt to push the girl out of the way, but only to reveal that, oh yeah, by the way, this creator loves Yu Yu Hakusho, because turns out that wasn't a truck, that was a tractor, and it was not going to hit her to begin with. So you literally just pushed a high school girl for no reason, then collapsed from shock, pissed your pants, and doctors and nurses laughed while you had a heart attack and you died because of that. The rest of the series focuses on Kazuma, and as he pretty much is just an entire asshole. He's like... So I'm not taking that from a cute disrespect overlord. Go to your root, ninja. So it pretty much takes the whole isekai genre and whatnot, and it really has this sadistic sense of humor, because it has Kazuma, like, he gets this whole procedure of in my room. He has this whole procedure of, like, you know, okay, so you died and whatnot, but now you get to pick up powers. And Cosmo's just like, well, these powers kind of suck. So you know what? Well, this goddess is a total bitch. So you know what? I'm just gonna choose you to take to the world. And actually, somehow, this actually works.
So you're so generous in your design to go to the real world kind of side.
And from then on, it's just like it's reveal. It's like subversion after subversion. This goddess that was considered high and mighty turns out to be this useless whiny bitch. Then you have Megumin, who plays herself off as this ultimate crimson demon lord, who's just a Chinibyo. Who's just a fucking Chinibyo who only likes using explosion magic. And that's it.
She is literally a glass cannon.
She's literally a glass cannon. She's a fucking one-trick pony. And then you have Darkness, the chivalrous knight, who is, like, so devoted to protecting people that it goes to fucking masochism level.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw like the first episode, I was like, did I put the wrong thing in? This might be a good show.
I gotta admit, out of the first season, and oh my god, I actually heard about this. I'm really loving the fact that it's getting a third season, actually.
Yes.
I love the first season. The Doulahan. Doulahan is like one of my favorite fucking characters in this. The series does have... He's not even there. Yeah, no! The series does have serious moments later on, too. I was shocked that it becomes less fantasy. Really good serious power fantasy, though, and it chief less comedy. Like, I would say like yeah, again, like just the headless writer. It's just like it's like what he lacks for in screen time he makes up for in more relatability, because his first the first instance of him is like Megami and Kazuma go to this castle, and then they just fire off explosions at it, and at some point in my brain it's like, okay, did they actually check that castle, or is that actually is someone living there? Because if so, they gotta be really pissed. Night comes down and it's like, yeah, so who the fuck has been firing explosions at my home?
You know what makes it better? You know what makes it better? The fact that in the dub it's Patrick Seitz that voices the Dula.
Yep.
So Ragnar's the Blood Edge.
Yep.
Get pissed off about the fact people blowing up his house.
Yep. I love in season 2 that the actress for Darkness is Christina V, but the actor for Vanir is Robbie Damon. So that's literally Velvet and Soraya from Tales of Berseria and Zestiria having an argument back and forth. I love that so fucking much.
It's never ending.
Oh. Okay, so in terms of like a power fantasy, like I would say this is very much like different compared to what we've talked about previously, because like this is very much less of a power fantasy and more of like a power reality check, I would say.
No, I believe it. It's like, oh, you're thinking you're gonna have this new life and gonna be all that, and it's like, nah, welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, like, as much as I love this show, in terms of like a power fantasy anime, do we like really want to incorporate it? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling it on terms of power fantasy here either, Chief. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought so. So
I'm happy when he said that.
I thought so. So let me look and see if I can find the image. It should not be too long. Let's see here. Yep.
Oh no.
Let me see here. You are gonna love this. I swear to God. Just trust me on this.
Well, man, it has me curious.
Because this may not, I will say this may not be an isekai, but this is 100% a fucking power fantasy. Oh, I should probably show. I think, yeah, she had it on B tier. Okay, so for the sake of, yeah, but ultimately, like, well, it is definitely a funny isekai series. I wouldn't necessarily say like it's a power fantasy. So I think we can agree on that. Let's talk about a non-isekai power fantasy.
Here we go.
Persona 5: The Animation.
God.
This, because it's an anime, it counts. It's an anime, so it does count.
What am I gonna see? 4 and 3 on the animation up in there in the backlines too? No.
I chose this specifically. So let's read the synopsis here, because for all 2 of you who don't know P5, and I'm being generous here, Ren Amamiya, a new transfer student at Shujin Academy, is sent to Tokyo to live with his family and his family friend Soichiro Sakura after wrongly being put on probation for defending a woman from sexual assault. While on the way to attend his first day at his middle school, Ren notices a strange app has appeared on his phone, transferring him to a world known as the Metaverse, which contains people's shadows, distorted depictions of... Alright, distorted depictions of their true selves. In the metaverse, he awakens his persona, a power deep from within that gives him the strength to fight the shadows. But with the help of his similarly troubled students, he forms the Fantasies of Hearts, attempting to attempting to save people from their sinful desires, taking their heart, making evildoers turn over a new leaf. The group's reputation continues to grow expressively, bringing along fame both positive and negative. Middle school. Yeah, why? Yeah, why not? Why not? Like, fucking whatever. But yeah, we can 100% agree that this is a power fantasy, right?
Yeah.
It is. Literally, like, I can give Persona 3 and 4 some slack on this for how they handle their stories and characters. Persona 5, there's no excuse. You have a character who's just this kind of average nobody. I say average, but dear God, he looks like a fucking J-pop idol. The fucking anime characters always look so fucking beautiful. He's tall, he's got good hair, he's got good looks. Like, fucking no.
Did he walk off of? Yeah, you're bringing it back. It looks like he walked off of a K-pop set.
Oh my God! It's just like he's just this. He's just this, like, he's supposed to be this self-insert. He's a self-projection, and on top of that, like, even in the anime, he's like, his dialogue is very, like, generic. It's very generic. Like, it doesn't really, like, okay, you can say what you will about, like, the other anime, but I definitely, like, Kami is cemented as just that kind of the, like, just kind of a straight-lined, smug asshole in a sense. Like,
and he rolled with him ever since.
Yeah, like, at least in Persona 4, the animation, they gave him kind of an arc. Persona 5, it literally is just... It literally is just, like, it's just parts of the game and whatnot, and it's just, like, it's made worse with the fact that, like... Again, it's just, like, the main character is not that interesting, and on top of it, it's just, like, every situation he's put in, he can get out of without any shadow of a doubt. It's like, it's literally just like he, like, aside from his drip, like I don't really like using the trendy words, but his drip, like, aside from his drip, like, he embodies more or less the idea of, like, the cool guy that all of the kids want to be. And on top of that, the cast, like, being, like, heavily reliant on him to solve their issues and everything is just, like, it makes them feel more in the sense of, like, they don't really have much character outside of the main character.
Yeah, that is those are very good points. Yeah. I believe.
So I didn't put this, like, I didn't have this initially on the list, but if you were to rate this, what would you rate this on in terms of, like, power fantasy?
On terms of power fantasy, it's up there. It's up there. Yeah.
I will say, like, I do like I do like the message that Persona 5 tries to go for with the whole thing of did that too much. The whole thing of, like, you know, society and wanting to change and everything. I really feel like it just... I also feel like you is more relatable because it's a family that interacts rather than surrogates. That's also true. But it's like...
Yeah, that's...
With Persona 5, it's just... It feels like it has this well-intentioned message that I really feel like could have been done more, like... It could have been done less cartoonish, honestly. Like, because it... Like, like, much of, like... The villains in that series are very much like they come off as, like, cartoonishly villain. Like, I half expected one of their whole things to be like, I took one of your members and attached her to this train track with 3 sticks of dynamite. Can you stop her? Can you save her before the train comes in? I expected her to be like, I kind of expected.
Now excuse me while I twirl my mustache.
Twirl up mustache. Yep.
Like, I'm sorry. Even with I'm gonna be real. How many times I played the game, I started to see the signs, and it's like, yo, you have the right idea, and I can respect that, but come on, you could have done it way better.
So
Like, you
like,
could have toned down the comedian. Like,
yeah.
P5 Strikers.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I would say that that's a better version. Like yeah, it still has those cartoonish elements, but at the very least, like it goes definitely more for the idea of like these characters have they're not all complete like they're not just complete and utter bastards you have to hate from the get go. They're people that became bastards. All right, so what would you say like? Because I'm verging this on C tier.
I would say, yeah, B tier, C tier.
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm gonna go for C tier. If another comes into play, we'll another comes into play for that area, we'll move it.
All right. And now you're gonna see the comments flood with all the P5 with fanatics again. It'll be fun.
They hate me because I'm right. They were good. They were
Sozo
good people
because he told the truth.
Why you booing me? I'm right. Okay. So this oh yeah, there were good people pushed over the edge. Yeah. So this one's a little, I will say a little underrated. I don't blame you if you don't know this show. But if you do, that's fine. I haven't seen this show fully, but I've seen enough of it. Hey, another isn't a power fantasy. I don't know, the math and the science is going to be out on that one, but I'll have to get back to you on that. But we're going to talk about this one, which I believe is called Chivalry of a Failed Knight.
Well, I've heard of this one, but never really gave it any thought.
Yeah, this is another one where it's just like, I will think that this does follow, like, somewhat of a power fantasy-esque type deal. But, to basically summarize, I actually should pull, up the, because it's been a while since I've actually seen this show. But to summarize, there's his main character, and he basically is notorious for being, like, essentially the worst warrior, like, in the school. He's, like, notorious for being that. And essentially, like, pretty much, it kind of falls like this whole school, this school battle formula of, like, yeah, he's the worst character, but also he has, like, the most broken OP fucking power, and so he can be able to best people. Like,
Yep, gotta check that off the box. Alright,
let's see. Pulling it up right now.
Knows why hand or 0 out of 10.
Knows why hand or 0 out of 10. Okay, so to give a better... Yeah, so... Yeah, it basically is like, there's humans who have the ability to manipulate their souls to form powerful weapons. They're called Blazers. And they study at an academy to become mage knights. And among those is the so-called failure, Iki Kurogane, the sole F-rated Blazer. However, when the worst student in the academy sees Stella Vermilion, an A-ranked Blazer, who also happens to be a princess, naked... Who, mind you, the first episode does have that whole cliche of him walking in on her, but I will give it points for the fact that he knew that what was going to happen next, so he decided, alright, I know what's going to happen next, so how about this? I'll get naked and we'll call it even. And then he just starts stripping. So I will give him credit on that. I'll give him credit on that. She challenges...
You know what? Threw me for a loop, fair enough.
So she challenges to a duel with the dire stakes. The loser becomes the slave of the winner. There's no possible way that Stella can lose, right? Yeah, she loses, and she also becomes his girlfriend. And I will say, like, I don't know, it's just, like, it very much follows the, like, if you've seen any, like, prestigious academy school battle, harem series, you've most likely come across this show.
yeah, the whole suddenly the worst student is the most overpowered student,
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
yeah. It's I mean, like, I don't know, like I, I really don't have. I really don't have much to say that really like stood out to me. Like, it's just I really don't know. Like, I mean, at the very least, like, okay, I will give in my smartphone this, where it's just like it definitely is like just a cliche, isekai power fantasy series. At the very least, like it, I can definitely say that it more kind of, I would argue, leans into that because like when you have a series in my smartphone and it's just about a character that just has a smartphone and is the best, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. With this, I don't know. It just kind of feels like it feels like one of those series where it's trying to do something, but it fails because it's repeating what everything else has done before. That's what I feel like it's doing. I personally, for that, I kind of have to argue it to be on F tier.
No, yeah, yeah, definitely F tier. It, I've seen, I've seen anime like this that do this type of thing a lot better, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, nothing saving this one.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Smug actually argued that it'd be C tier.
Really, imagine that.
But yeah, this and this. Oh, fuck! I didn't take off. Well, you know what? I'll get it in post.
Okay,
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Yeah, but that's gonna be a F tier on this side. Okay, so yeah, it's Smug. It's like Mach and Key, but somehow even less interesting. Yeah, like it. All right. So, let's bring up a series that more or less you could argue popularized the power fantasy genre formula that we know today.
You know what? You love it, or you hate it.
Sword Art Online. Let's talk about it.
All right, let's address the elephant in the
All
room.
right, so first off, I should be fair here. Let's simply talk about the first season, because I have heard from a number of people, Smug included, that it does get better in Alicitization. Well, okay, personally, I wouldn't necessarily say better as much as it is more fun. I could believe it's more fun. But, yeah, let's keep it to the first season. So, the story starts with the introduction of the Nerve Gear and this new VR MMO, Sword Art Online. And it follows the story of a player known as Kirito, who is kind of just supposed to be your average player. However, during the launch day, all the players are gathered in the game's town square, where they have a talk. Oh boy, this is one of my most controversial because I gave it a complex, because it's a complex scoring I gave it. We're gonna talk about it though. Where the developer Kayabaki Hiko comes into the sky and talks about how there's no longer any way to log out of the game. The only way to complete the game, the only way to get out of the game is to make it to the final floor and beat the boss and be able to just clear the game. And if they die in the game, they die in real life. And as an added bonus for I don't really know what reason, honestly, they go from their video game avatars to what they look like IRL. And yeah, pretty much it follows Kirito and his journey through Aincrad and just Sword Art Online in general, and just his journey as becoming like this lone black swordsman. Which that doesn't sound familiar in any way. Yeah, it's not putting shade on anyone in particular. Guts.
I was just about to say, oh hey, what the hell's got to do with it?
But yeah, this is all right. Before we tear into the series, I will be fair. This series did it. There was a reason why this series was popular when I was 12, and I fully admit that. And yeah, I look, I fully liked this series when I was 12 years old, and like I look, I will admit the allure and the idea, the concept of it is fine. It's a pretty good idea where it's like it takes this idea where it's like, yeah, so this new concept like VR MMO, yeah. Oh, by the way, your virtual reality headsets, it has a built-in microchip that emits that if overheated at a certain point will fry your fucking brain. And it's like, you know what, that's an interesting idea. And at first, I kind of like what they were doing with it because it was very much, it was going around the idea of like it being very like dark, unsettling. It was sort of delivering on that note. Eventually coming to the point where it was trying to be, it was trying to act as if like the virtual reality game was like a fantasy world, like a legitimate fantasy world. And to a degree, I could cut some slack because technically speaking, it is kind of like that because it is kind of treated like the real world in this sense.
Okay.
Then, so I will say that it definitely the Aincrad at the very least is like it has some interesting ideas, but I will definitely say it drops the ball. And don't get me started on part 2 of the second fucking season, which I will reiterate and continue to say was fucking pointless.
What second season? There's no second season. What are you talking about?
Like the only reason I acknowledge it is because of Sword Art Online Abridged.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason anyone acknowledges it.
Anyone above the age of 12. Fucking. Oh my god. So, yeah, let's free up where Smug put this up. She put this in C tier. Now to her credit, I get where she was coming from because it was very much like
it was the one that technically started it all.
It was technically popular. I wouldn't say it like created the genre because other ideas have done it before. Hell, I'll even say Zero Note Skyma was more or less kind of a precursor to the isekai genre before isekai was like this whole big thing.
Right.
All I'm saying is, how many anime do you know that people say, yeah, but the abridged version is better? Exactly. Uh-huh.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, none. Checkmate, atheist.
But, I don't know, like, C tier, I mean, okay, like, I will admit it gets pretty, it gets pretty, at some parts of it, and kind of infuriating, but I will admit, with, some other series that have come out, in more quote-unquote recent years, I have to admit it's not the worst. It's infamous, but it's not the worst out there.
If I want to give a clear word for it, especially given what we've seen nowadays, overhated.
Overhated? Yeah, that's a pretty good word. I would say, yeah, I honestly can't think of anything else other than to say that. So I would, yeah, I would honestly, I don't really know where else to put this, so I honestly have to go with Smug and say, like, it's C tier.
Yeah, C tier, because really that's all I can say for it. Nowadays, it's just overhated.
Yeah, like, I mean, okay, if you're a teenager and whatnot, like, I can see the, oh, shit,
It knocked Persona 5 down.
Knocked Persona 5 down where it needed to be. As God intended. Okay. But yeah, like, I mean, we live in a post-conception world, so I think it's safe to say that it's not the worst.
Yeah, it ain't the worst.
Alright. So, now that we got that out of the way, here's another one I think that's actually interesting. Let's talk about Bleach.
Oh, we're getting into this, are we?
Yeah. This one is an interesting pick because... Also, I'm not above liking or admitting I enjoy trash. I love How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. Yes, I am a horrific degenerate. Don't Google that, ninja. We watched How Not to Summon a Demon Lord a few weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, I think it was around the, about a few weeks ago, about a month ago.
I will say, though, like, How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. But Bleach...
And not for the reason...
But Bleach... so... I guess let's go through this. Ichigo Kurosaki, a high school student, is able to see spirits. And then one day he meets Soul Reaper, Rukia Kuchiki, who tells him and leads him into the whole thing about hollows and the Soul Society. And one night, when a hollow attacks Ichigo's family, Ichigo is actually revealed to have some level of spiritual power, and Rukia, with last-ditch effort, decides to give him her Soul Reaper powers and make him a substitute Soul Reaper. From then on, he pretty much goes through the story with the resolve of trying to more or less deal with hollows and protect his friends and family. I do have to say that this is one of those things where it's just like it was interesting because I'm not exactly sure whether or not where this would lie, but I will say with how some of its story goes, this can be chalked up to power fantasy.
No, thinking back on it, especially in some of the later seasons, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, okay. The first few arcs, like the first couple of arcs, or the first, 2 or 3 arcs, I could kind of give, some leeway to, because at the very least, there was suspense and a lot of questions being put up, and there was a number of payoffs. Ichigo has, the ability to see spirits. Okay. And he also has the ability to break these techniques that Soul Reapers have. Also, Breach and Fairy Tail fell far into the Shonen Cap for me. It's not B tier because it's the best series. They're very fun, though. Yeah. But it's, ultimately, it has, a number of these details here where it's just, yeah, and then, once Ichigo actually comes into his own and awakens his own Soul Reaper powers, you begin how is that possible? That must mean that he actually, someone in his family is a Soul Reaper. And, more questions become answered, and more questions pop up, and more questions answered, and he's just oh, okay. And then, at some point, you just gotta say that's bullshit. And...
I already know who you're talking about. Mr. I planned everything.
Oh boy, I'm not gonna say who because that part of the anime is coming out. So for the sake of spoilers, I'm not gonna say who, but for fuck's sake, that is just the stars fucking align. Are you fucking kidding me? Now, to be fair, I like the idea that they went with. I will say it goes in that realm of, I guess you could say forbidden love. And, by the way, I know this is kind of going to spoiler territory, but can I just say this? Can I just say this about the Quincy's? I just want to say this. They're spirit Nazis.
No, yeah, you're right.
They're spirit Nazis. No, they dress in leather. They consider themselves the ultimate race.
No, they are quite literally.
Spirit Nazis!
I mean, we've got vampire Nazis.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's just like, it does play that line of forbidden love, which is like, it's a tale that's been done time and time again. Like, I would even say, like, Romeo and Juliet is one of the most famous examples of forbidden love. But I will say, like, story elements and story points, it's just like, it really hinders it from being any better. That said, it still is a good series. I will admit that. Like, it's a entertaining series mainly because it is shonen. And it is one of the big three for a reason.
Yeah, just suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, like, at some point, like, okay, if you're someone where it's just like, okay, I can suspend my disbelief at this point, but there's a limit to what I can suspend, like, I 100% do not blame you.
Yeah, I knew you would eat your cornflakes on that day, Ichigo. It was all part of my plan. That's why I'm stronger than you.
At very least, like, with characters like Aizen, like, that made sense. Like, that made sense in all playing into his character. But that final villain, I'm just like, okay, no, you're really struggling here.
Oh, you're just reaching now. They're good stuff.
I thought Fullbring was some ass pulls, but no, this takes the cake. She put it on B tier.
Very appropriate.
But yeah, what do you feel about it?
Even I'm a little biased because it's one of the few anime I watched growing up as a kid.
Honestly, so. I don't blame you. Yeah, I don't blame you. Same here. It's just like, again, it's one of the big three. Like, it was up there with Naruto and One Piece as one of the three best-selling manga series. So 100%, I get it. I'm not trying to hate on this series or anything, but we gotta admit, this has got its flaws.
Oh, it has got its flaws.
So what would you say?
Not counting my bias, A tier.
A tier?
Yeah, A tier.
Honestly, I have to say that mainly because, like, I don't know, like, I for as much as I dunk on, like, the final arc of Bleach, I have to admit, like, the Rukia Rescue Art and Hueco Mundo and the Roncars, all that is really good, and I love it. And it's like, so yeah, okay, it might be a bias, but I'm gonna go A tier as well. Yeah, it's like
it's definitely a bias.
I will say, I do think it does have a better concept of romance than Naruto.
Fair enough. Carry on.
Yeah. Okay. Just gonna leave it at that.
Just keep on riding that cage.
Oh my god. All right. So let's talk about the other shonen I got on here. Fairy Tail. This one is like, I have to say, a little more odder in the power fantasies. 3 seasons of filler, though, you're taking the piss. I mean, filler can be skipped. I'm just saying.
I mean, the skip button's right there.
There's a reason why people list canon and filler episodes.
It's like, don't worry, I got you.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a Bleach Kai. But yeah. Let's talk about Fairy Tail, aka, to quote Michael Reeves, the dub voice actor for Sting, the power of friendship is bullshit. Why does it always win? That's an actual quote.
I've been hearing so many jokes about this anime, about how the power of friendship is literally Deus Ex Machina.
Have you seen it?
Actually, no.
Okay, I'll do my best to talk about it. This delay is murdering me. I don't know. I don't know how to say about that. Anyway, so let me go down the synopsis. Luciard Filia is an up-and-coming wizard, and in this world, it's like it is governed by magic, and like it's kind of this world where it's just like, magic is kind of more of a commonplace thing. Like, from what I gather, it doesn't take that much to become like a magic or a wizard or anything. Like, it literally, like, you literally, they have like items that can use like that can let you use magic or anything. So it's just like it feels very much like welcoming to a lot of people if they really want to go down that route. And then you have our main protagonist, Lucy Arphelia, who's an up and coming mage who wants to like get into one of the biggest guilds of all time, Fairy Tale. And she has a dream to like want to do it. She meets this wizard who claims to be like the salamander, like this guy that can, the guy's like got it tight with it doesn't work like Cyberpunk Universe. Mike Pondsmith laughs at your happy ending.
Oh god. I'm thinking back at episode 10 now.
Oh god. But yeah, so it's like there's a dude who claims to be like Salamander, and he's like, yeah, it's like I can get you into Fairy Tale, and it's just like he's just plays off as a suave character. And then you have this other character with pink hair, Natsu, who's just like dressed in heavy clothing and everything. Also, don't feel obligated to read every one of my messages. I don't want to interrupt your flow. I'm trying my best here. Contrary to what you might think, I don't really get a lot of people chatting in my stream, so...
So this is a welcome change.
Yeah, this is a welcome change. But yeah, you got this character in heavy clothing, Natsu, and it's just like he comes across Lucy, and here's what she wants to talk about. They have this whole, like, battle and whatnot, and it turns out that Natsu, is one of the fabled dragon slayers, where he can actually eat flames and use it to produce his own fire magic, and use it to like kick the asses of any enemy he comes across. And he actually is a member of Fairy Tale, and he gets Lucy into it. And pretty much the rest of the series is focused on Lucy and Natsu and the rest of their friends, along with Happy, as in just most of the Fairy Tale antics and whatnot. And yeah, that's pretty much the synopsis. And I will say, so it rides the line of having a dark and like morbid story, and then kind of going, yeah, we got the power of friendship on our side, we can succeed at the last minute. It's really like that. Like, there's a few fights in the series where it's just like it kind of feels like there's literally this moment later on in the series where it's like Natsu is supposed to like go against an opponent that's far stronger than them. Like, I'm talking like they have this whole hierarchy of mages, and and they have like this whole system like the 10 Wizard and Sage, which are supposed to be like, in terms of Bleach, they're like the Gote 13. Like, keep that in mind. And then you have this character like Natsu, and he's supposed to go up against him. So in order to do that, he uses this like power-up item where he absorbs like all of like other elements, and it's just like poisoning his own body. But for some reason, he perseveres through it, and then just kicks the ass of like this guy's supposed to be this wizard saint.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
No. If this were any other series, that man would have croaked.
Yeah. It very much like it has like good ideas where if it wants to get depressing and sad, it knows how to tug at the heartstrings. But there are times where it just like feels where you're either really struggling to make the good guys win here, or you're trying to make a cop out.
It's like, there's giving us a good payoff, and then there's taking the piss.
Yeah.
You, sir, have reached all the way to London.
Literally, again, from that whole conversation, again, Michael Jones, the voice actor for Sting, who's a character in that series, literally is drunk at a convention on stage in the middle of it, out of fucking nowhere with no cue whatsoever. He says, "How did Natsu beat Sting? It's bullshit. Sting should have won. He's a fucking White Dragon Slayer. How did he lose? It doesn't make sense. The power of friendship is bullshit." To which one of his friends goes, "Michael, you're drunk, but you're right."
Alright, I like this guy already.
Yeah. I'll show it to you sometime later.
Alright.
But, hearing that, what would you put this under? In terms
I mean, it's the power fantasy of believing the power of friendship can overcome all.
I mean, yeah, it's there.
I'm gonna put, just for that alone, I'm putting that in B tier.
B tier? Okay. You know what? I like your hustle. Like, and I'm pretty sure if I recall correctly, let's give it here. Yeah, she put it in B tier as well. Yeah, all right. Let's. Yeah, just go ahead. So yeah, pretty much we're getting down the list here, and we're coming across more shows that are more or less, I think, can be more or less debated on whether or not they should count, but whatever. All right, so we got from Fairy Tail. So let's move on to the next show, which is one that, like, ultimately. Did you disconnect?
I shouldn't have. Can you hear me?
Oh, it's like.
I think. No.
Was that me or was that? Oh, that was me.
Yeah, I'm having a faulty signal right quick. Let me see if I can swap to. Hang on, let me.
Hold on, I gotta check just in case, like, because it might also be off. My stream might also have just gone offline, so I gotta double check. Silent Flight, hey Sozo, it's been a while. Hey. Okay, so I think, yeah, I don't know what that was, but the stream on my phone is definitely still saying that it is live, so I'm going to assume that nothing broke except for that call. But yeah, okay, so yeah, hi Silent Flight, welcome to the stream. We're just making tier lists on what we consider with power fantasy anime and whatnot. Okay, so yeah, so like I was saying, we're moving on from Fairy Tail. And here's one where this was definitely my pick because I really wanted to have a talk about this, because while there are many other series that do have power fantasy elements incorporated into this, I feel like this one kind of hits it home. And I mean that in the good way. Let's reveal it. Fate Apocrypha.
So, been waiting for this day.
You've seen this?
Been waiting for this.
You've seen this?
I've been waiting to the day anything Fate related would come up.
Yeah, I chose this for a specific reason, and I'll get to it, but the synopsis, it was me, Barry. I pissed on the Discord service to ruin your stream. But, so yeah, the synopsis for this is pretty much, there is, much like all the other Fate series, there's a whole Grail War going on, and the stream's still good, just a weird bug there. Okay. But yeah. So, yeah, pretty much, so with Fate Apocrypha, Whole Grail War is ascended, and this time around, unlike with a number of the previous Fate series, this time we have different factions and different sides on it. We have a guy who's kind of a crit keeper who summons Mordred, the son of King Arthur. and then we have like other characters such as Achilles. We have Astolfo. We have Frankenstein. We have a lot of these different characters, and in the midst of this, the reason why I wanted to put this on the list is because in the midst of all this, at some point, a character by the name of Ruler, who is revealed to be Jeanne d'Arc, ends up coming across a homunculus with no name, but who is more or less just kind of trying to escape. And escapes with Astolfo. And then we come across this other character, Siegfried. Like, the big Siegfried. And upon being circled by other servants and in a hostile situation, Siegfried offers to give up his life for the homunculus so that he can have a life. Worth living. And in turn, this actually brings him into this homunculus into the midst of the Holy Grail War as a potential servant. And out of respect, he dons not the name Siegfried, but the name Sig. And pretty much the rest of the show is about him and his venture through this Holy Grail War. So let's talk about it.
Alright.
The only reason why I wanted to add this on is because of Sig. I do kind of...
That's it. That's
literally it. I do 100% feel like he kind of fills out the power fantasy protagonist tropes to a T. Like, you have a character that's just kind of a nobody, and then you give him and then he's gifted like the power of this almighty warrior. Do you guys realize how batshit fate sounds when you say it out loud? Do you realize how batshit Do you realize how batshit a lot of these series sound when you say it out loud? Do we have to go back to Konosuba, a series where a kid pushed a girl for no reason and pissed his pants and died out of a heart attack?
I mean, we can bring up Persona 5's animation again. Hey, no game, no life.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, yeah, we got the nobody character.
We got the nobody character inheriting these powers of like this warrior that was considered to be like this Legend of Legends hero, and essentially coming into his own as this OP fucking warrior.
We all know the real OP man is Karna.
Yep.
But yeah, it checks off all the boxes of a power fantasy.
Yeah.
And it was the singular moment that pissed off a lot of Fate fans. In fact, people hated it so much that, you know, in the gacha game Fate Grand Order Apocrypha raid event, that basically apologized for how bad it was. The whole thing was a mistake.
Oh my god! Can you imagine the creator or the director of Fate Apocrypha, like, just stealing fucking, what's this? Hayao Miyazaki's quote, "Fate Apocrypha was a mistake."
That's essentially what that whole raid event was. It actually gave Sieg actual character and make me like, all right, you know what? I'll give you a fair chance. But that was essentially it.
Oh my god. Maybe someday we'll do like a Fate tier list. Yeah, but Konosuba didn't have any. Hey, why don't you bang this historical figure? They're thick AF. I mean. Isn't that like Fate in general?
Yes, it is.
Or are we forgetting the whole thing around Merlin and Saber? We forgetting that?
It's funny because it's canon.
Most series, like when characters have sex, whether it's consensual or non-consensual, you can say, "Oh, that's not canon." Fate, oh, that's canon.
I mean, their answer to it being canon was, "It's all Merlin's fault."
Yep. Blame it all on Merlin. Where would you? I'm actually curious. Where would you put this?
I'm gonna just put it right up there on S tier, just for sake.
Yeah, you know what? Where'd she put it? Yeah, she put it in A tier. You know what? I'm kind of with you on that, honestly. I'm gonna put it in S tier as well. Honestly, it's like, I mean, Fate Apocrypha as a whole, especially with like the power fantasy, like I do like it. Like, yeah. I say that, but I have to admit, I never finished it. The farthest I got was the reveal that Astolfo was a guy. That's about as far as I got.
Yep, that's it for me. No, but real talk, the only people that I actually considered, caring about, aside from Sig in the event, was Karin and Mordred. Karna, because Karna. And I want to say... pretty much it. And Jonah.
Yeah.
Really, those were the only real major four.
Okay. So, yeah, pretty much let's move on from that. And so, isn't Da Vinci a chicken Fate? Literally, can't that be said with almost any fucking character? Isn't King Arthur a chicken Fate?
That's my answer to both those questions.
Not that the creator of Fate actually did say at one point, I told them to just have fun with it. We have different definitions of fun. I'll try to find your review later. Okay, I'm clipping. I'm clipping that and making that its own clip. Just not. I want to say that deadpan. I told them to have fun with it. We have different definitions of fun. Oh my god. So, well, I can't really transition to this, so I'll just fucking show it.
Okay, please.
Let's talk about Pokemon.
Yes, because who would want to dream about having their own buddy that could fire off the elements at 10 years old? Revenge.
I don't know, it's just... I'm struggling to consider this a power fantasy. Now, if we're talking about the game specifically, oh hell yeah, they are fucking power fantasy. Like, 100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But Pokemon, I don't know. Ash is like this distinct character. And it's like I'm hard pressed to actually say whether or not it's a power fantasy because he actually does lose quite a bit. I don't know. It's just like I wanted to put it up here potentially as like just a question, and I'm not exactly sure. How do you feel about it?
Because I want to put it on here along with the other one on there. I see the hair. I know what's down there. But, no, I'm not. I don't really think this. I don't really consider this power fantasy unless you consider character befriending creatures of mythical origin and godlike divinity a power fantasy.
I mean, like...
Or is that stretching?
I mean, I guess if it was, like, actually, like, I don't know, maybe if it was more in the sense of, like, the world, I feel like if it was more in the sense of, like, this world is more bent towards Ash's actual, like, will and everything, I probably would say yeah. But, I don't know, it just kind of feels like, this was just kind of, I don't know, like, I just kind of feel like it is very much a case of, like, yeah, this could be, like, a power fantasy, but it would have to, like, I don't know, it'd have to be more than that.
Yeah, it feels like something's missing.
Okay. So, with that in mind, since I think we can both agree that it's not really like a power fantasy, I think we can add in a replacement.
What do you have in mind?
I've got a few shows in mind, and while it was definitely hilarious to put in Persona 5, the animation, I've got one that I actually did want to put in, so let me just save it. Let's see here. Okay. So yeah, let's get this down. Oh boy, Smasher Pass.
No.
I'm surprised in that video Markiplier made that the one Pokemon that apparently is known for being smashable, Vaporeon, he just went pass.
He ain't falling for it. Does this make me a furry?
Does this make me a furry? But yeah. So yeah, this is a show that I 100% believe is a power fantasy, but in a good way. Iruma-kun.
Okay.
So, to those who don't know Iruma-kun, Iruma-kun is about Inuma Suzuki, and his parents are fucking deadbeats. They do not give a shit about him in any way, shape, or form. And he spends most of his life just taking job after job after job, to the point where one day he finds out that his parents sold him to a demon. And, yeah. And he's thinking, oh god, this is this is where I hit it. This is where I hit rock bottom. Turns out, that demon, he's actually really nice and wants to adopt him as a grandchild. So, pretty much, the rest of this series is focused on... Oh, easy yes, yeah, I'm getting there. The rest of the series is focused on Iruma trying to get by as a human in the guise of a demon in the demon world at a demon school. And okay, so what I have curiosity. What would you think about it?
From the episode we saw, I think a few Saturdays ago, first episode.
Yeah,
I'd say he's S tier.
Yeah, I am actually caught up with like not just the anime but the manga. Yeah, the first season is very much a case of like it's trying to be the fun high school comedy anime a lot of other series have done in the past, but as time goes on, it very much comes into its own with the question of what do I desire, and it really becomes more of a shonen battle anime as opposed to just like a comedy high school rom-com type series. And it's really well done. Like, it goes from, like, Iruma ultimately is a character that has no... I'll force him to binge it later. I mean, you don't have to force him if he's gonna watch it. You can't force it. You can't force it if they want it. But, like, Iruma ultimately at the beginning, admittedly, he goes from a character that has, like, is just... kind of the everyman. He's the every character. He's kind of like, in a grand scheme of things, a self-projection. And he goes from that to a character that legitimately has, like, an ambition, a desire that he wants to go focus on. And I, 100%, it's one of my favorite shonen series out there. And I think, without a doubt, I think we can put it at S tier. Okay. So we got a couple more, and then we're gonna pretty much close up.
Alright.
Sozo, I'll write that on your grave. You can't force it if they want it. It's like how Rosary Vampire went from typical standard harem to literal shonen battle with a great protagonist. Asterisk in the manga because fuck the anime.
anime. Y'all keep talking about this Rosario anime.
Have you actually seen the Rosario anime? Or
Yes, I have. I'm trying not to remember.
God. It's like that moment with like Lythero where it's just like they're talking about Goku Black. It's like, see, it's funny because they're like multiple Goku Blacks. So I was like, oh wait, really? Shit, I should probably watch Dragon Ball Super one day. Don't. But let's get to personally what I believe is one of the best Power Fantasy series. That time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Oh, look, another thing. Another anime I need to binge.
Yeah. I don't think I've put this on in... Or, no, I think I have, but it was a long while back. I don't know,
Yeah,
but,
I missed it.
Anyway, so, the story goes is that you have this 40-year-old virgin, no, I'm not kidding, who... I'm not kidding! He literally is a 40-year-old virgin who gets stabbed by a non-running assailant and dies. And during that point in time, like, all you can think of is just how he feels, how cold the blood feels, telling his best friend, who he's known for so long, delete my browser history, drop my hard drive in the tub. That's actually what he says! Drop my hard drive and my computer in the tub. Don't let anyone see it. It's actually.
Well, to be fair, that would be it. That would be anyone's last request.
Yeah. Yeah. But as in his dying words and whatnot, in his dying words, his wishes and everything and his thoughts get misinterpreted in terms of parameters for his next particular ideal form in his next life. When he passes on, he eventually finds out that he's actually a slime. And the story is centered around him and just his new life as a slime as he explores like this cave and comes across like this dragon that's almighty and powerful, but in actuality is a fucking tsundere. And then he comes across, like, and then pretty much from then on, he comes across, like, a village of goblins he helps out. They're just getting attacked by wolves for, like, no fucking reason.
That's the reason.
Existence is pain. Why do you hate us? What did we ever do to you? You were born. Pretty much, it is just it's focused on more or less Rimuru getting accustomed to his new life, and more or less like he has like all of he comes across and learns all these like amazing powers and everything and whatnot, acquires all these new skills, but in the grand scheme of things, he's more interested in like diplomacy and negotiation as opposed to just brute force everything. So, like, hearing that, what do you think about it?
I mean, it sounds like a series I could get behind 100%.
Yeah.
Bonus points for a protagonist. Bonus points for another protagonist that actually tries to do diplomacy.
Yeah. I'll put this on the list next week, but personally, I have to say this is definitely like. It's rare to come across a protagonist, let alone an isekai protagonist in anime, where they have all of these powers, like, they've got these powers to, like, create lightning strikes, they have these powers to fucking have unbreakable arms, like, it's just all of these incredible and insane powers, and instead of more or less just kind of using it to establish how strong they are, they instead go, well, why don't we just talk things out? You know, I couldn't use your help on things and whatnot. And it's just like, that's kind of where a major focus is. It's less on a demonstration of power and more in the sense of, like, trying to find other ways of getting what you want in different forms. And honestly, it's just like, I feel like it's a power fantasy more in a realistic sense, because, like, I think a lot of us, when we were younger, had this idea of, like, if we were in a fantasy world, we have all these powers, oh man, we could do so much with it, and we could just, like, we could attack all these monsters, we could stop dragons and become kings and queens of the world. But in reality, when you get to, like, well, our ages, it kind of becomes like, alright, we got all these powers, but it means just, like, can't we just chill? I feel like that's...
just, like, that's really what most of us want nowadays.
Yeah, it's just like all these powers, and then instead, like, all these powers at his hands, and instead he just rather go. It's like, hey, I need help building houses. Like, can you just could you direct me to the direction of someone who actually knows architecture?
Like that. Like,
Yeah.
I can respect when an anime does that.
Yeah. So where would you put this? Hang on, let's just check because we haven't checked in a bit. So she put this in A tier.
I'd say a good A tier.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, yeah. It's also in the camp of, like... for me, it's also in that camp of, like... I do like it. But I also do think it's I do think more in the sense of, like... It's good, but it's, like... I don't know, for a story... For like, a story for me to be, like, legitimately S tier... It needs to be, for me, it needs to be, like, fully immersed in what in what it tries to do, or it just has to be legitimately, like, 100% something that I have fun with regardless. Like, and I think that's why I think we gave No Game No Life an S tier rating.
Pretty much, yeah. Same with Apocrypha.
Alright, so, last one for the night, let's just get into it. So we're gonna keep this. We're gonna be fair here, because I know there's a lot of iterations and spin-offs. We're gonna keep this to the 4Kids, like, version that that is most iconic out of Yu-Gi-Oh! We're gonna keep it to that. So, pretty much... I don't really know if I need to say it, but pretty much it's just... Yu-Gi-Oh! In this series is focused on, more or less, Maximilian Pegasus takes Yugi-Moto's grandfather's soul and says, if you want it back, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to come face me at my tournament. Until he goes to a tournament, and he has to, with the help of his alter ego Pharaoh, he has to be able to complete the tournament. And pretty much that's just kind of the major arc. That's one of the first major arc of it.
The whole thing, the fact that, what would you put this into a proper thing? All right, say you're like in your tens and 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
Before you're hitting your teens. How would you solve a government crisis? Those card games. And that's Am I wrong?
This is a straight up, her sister was a witch, right? What makes her sister a princess? The Wicked Witch of the East, bro, moment.
You know what, Sozo, you're right. All anime sounds bullshit when you say them out loud.
Oh my god.
Was I wrong about that?
You know, I expected to hear that line. You know what's funny is I a whole 100% would have expected to hear that out of a fucking little Karibo Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged episode. Just hearing that here is just like, oh god.
Oh god, he's right.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Oh my god. I'm totally pulling Sozo's on my soundboard. Oh my god.
That's it's how we as kids would want to solve our problems, though.
Yeah.
With the whole thing with the bullying and all that, we just want to play cards together, man. We just want to do nothing that. It didn't even have to be Yu-Gi-Oh at the time. It could have been anything.
Yeah. Oh my god. I think I want to call it famous at this point because I think everyone has fucking even if they haven't seen Yu-Gi-Oh, everyone has seen it. The Kaiba versus Pharaoh fights. Like, just we all know it. Draw your last pathetic card, Yugi. My deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba. Fucking unleashes Exodia the Forbidden One!
I believe that's what we call the ass pull.
Yeah, I think we can 100% agree. For the fact that that along in the tournament, literally Yugi had to be crippled in that aspect by no longer having Exodia the Forbidden One as his ace in the sleeve. I think we can agree that's like it's a power fantasy. 100%.
In every sense of the word.
I don't know if we want, like, okay, oh my god, you're talking about the children's card. You know what, fucking, even as a child, you know what cracked me up? Is the fucking, like, later on in the series, Yugi and Kaiba have a fight. And, like, they have a fight with, like, children, they have a fight with the game. And at some point, Kaiba just goes, yeah, if you attack me, that attack will hit me. But I'm gonna be standing over this ledge, and you're gonna kill me. I'm like, dude.
Okay, I will give him this. Man did have his brother's soul stolen by Pegasus, so I can see why he would be that desperate.
But
I will give him that.
Again, when you really think about how bullshit these plots, yeah, I have the ability to steal your brother's soul. If you want it back, you have to fight me in a children's card game. Oh my god!
I never thought about it
until I
actually put it into words. Just like, I get it. In hindsight, I get why he was desperate.
Yeah! Oh my fucking god! I'm gonna clip this, cut to that scene from Trolls. Oh my god! Oh my god.
It's no contest.
S tier. S tier.
S tier.
Yeah.
Just very nice.
She put in C tier. Like now we're talking about, yeah, she put it in C tier, but now we're talking about it and now we realize how fucking insane this must sound out of context or even in context. Yeah.
There's no other place it can go. You shouldn't you use this power to like take over? No, I want to challenge children to card games.
Oh my god. I really grew up in the Raw generation. This shit sounds stupid. It was, and we loved it.
Every second of it.
Every single second of it.
We didn't like GX. It was weird.
Okay, here's my thoughts on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pretty much. Yu-Gi-Oh! Original, loved it, even if it is fucking stupid. GX, okay, I'm going to admit, Get Your Game On is a fucking memorable bop. I will admit that. It is. 5Ds, actually not that bad. I liked it. Like, it still has the whole, like, stupid children's card game thing, but it does have some pretty interesting ideas, like, characters, like the main character growing up in, like, poverty, and, like, just this kind of, like, this fucking, I don't know what you want to call it, like, Akira-esque type city.
Yeah, it definitely felt Akira-esque.
Yeah, like, it's, like, I don't know, it's like 5Ds was really good. I don't know. After that, I just kind of fell off of Yu-Gi-Oh, though. I mean, depending on what you're into, you also grew up with wizards cosplaying as ninjas. I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
Yeah, she ain't wrong.
We also had We also had ninjas and samurai. Or no. We also had like Grim Reapers cosplaying as ninjas and samurai.
Yeah, we did.
And then we had cartoon characters cosplaying as pirates.
We had a lot of things.
We had a lot of things. But yeah. And you know what? I noticed something. Because it's the end, we've got nothing in D tier.
Well,
just to be a dick.
You see the cursor going over like,
oh my god.
it's a ton of fun.
I grew up with Power Rangers and Ninjago. You see how I turned out very sheltered. Oh my god. But yeah, I think that's gonna be doing it. What do you think? Like, should we? I don't know. You want to do this next week, but this time with just kind of the group in the anime chat as just bring them in, or?
I'm all for that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was fun with it was fun with two of us, but I mean, I just kind of feel like bringing more people into this as well.
Yeah,
But-
we gotta share the laugh.
Yeah. Oh my god. I've got more like Power Fantasy series in mind, and hell, we don't even have to gear it with Power Fantasy. We can just like start picking up different like different types of series and whatnot. But yeah, that's gonna be it for right now. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Arashi, for agreeing to come on here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, this is gonna be it. If you like this video, please do consider liking it, subscribing, and please, I urge you if you can, donate on my Ko-Fi. I'm really trying to make this full-time artist thing and YouTube career becoming a business and everything. Really trying to do that. If you want to see my art, check out my portfolio. If you want to see my other videos, feel free to just check them out as well. 4Kids Yu-Gi-Oh! Or 0. Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god. But yeah, that's gonna be doing it. So thank you all so much for joining me. We're gonna take off. So peace.